Right, welcome back to my channel, guys. This is John Wolf, representing for the Honda K20Z2 engines. As you guys probably seen, I already posted up the last video on the dyno runs with the car. Sorry for that, the screen was a bit dirty. Where I finally went and dyno tested the car after making sure of a few concerns I had regarding the fuel pressure, the types of fuel injectors I have. Remember, I'm running 350cc injectors on these. There is a calculation you can do to check how big of cc injectors you need, depending on how much horsepower you want to make, depending on the type of brake fuel consumption you're using. Brake fuel consumption meaning whether you're running natural aspirated or forced induction, turbocharged, supercharged, in that case is forced induction. If I can quickly make a reference, if you're running natural aspirated, it uses 0.5 brake fuel consumption. On forced induction, it uses 0.6. You can check it out on the DHworks website also, fuel injector calculator. You can Google it, check it as well. Do know a couple of few things about what type, how much duty cycle you're running on the injectors, what your brake fuel consumption is, what your horsepower aim is. My personal aim for the Honda was 170 kilowatt at least. I think that's around about 210 horsepower. It did show on the injector calculator that 350cc is ample enough for up to 250 horsepower. And just to confirm for you guys, on the day of the dyno run, that's why you'll probably see in the video, even after the dyno was done, the video was still recording from the inside because I was still monitoring the air to fuel ratio to see if I'm happy with it. If I'm not happy with the air fuel ratio, never mind what power figures I was making, I go back to my engine and make sure my fuel injectors, either I upgrade them or turn up the fuel pressure or check what's necessary, that I have enough fuel for my engine. Remember, I'm still running stock management, so I'm not targeting high power numbers. I'm very satisfied with 188 I got. At 188, I boosted around about 8 psi, 0.5 bar. That was from the fourth run when I started seeing that. Sorry, I was checking I just noticed the bike's license plate cracked again. On the 0.5 bar I was running, I was still seeing that on the air fuel ratio gauge, I'm still getting richness up to 10 in 8 psi in 6 to 7,000 revs. Remember, I'm not running VTEC, I'm not running 7 to 8,000 or to 9,000 RPM. I'm running iVTEC, still stock management, 6,009, 7,000 RPM. And a tip on that, narrowband, wideband air fuel ratio gauges. If you're gonna be adding that to your car, if you want to make sure of the air fuel ratio you're running, if you're gonna be turbocharged, converting, supercharging, if you want to be upgrading your natural aspirator, doesn't matter what the case is, don't believe any shit that people say online about you can use a narrowband air fuel ratio gauge. That bullshit about it showing you whether you're running lean, stoic, or richness, fuck that shit. What you want to see is you want to see numbers. You want to see that numbers. Stoic, like what narrowband runs on is like a positive and a negative signal, to put it for that example. If the car's running lean, it'll just show lean. If it's running rich, it'll just show rich. It's not gonna balance in between. The air fuel ratio has that let's put it like that, a frequency. It's not just positive, it's not just negative, it's in between. That's where you get your numbers. You want to see the numbers. This is a whole bit of a update for you guys. I haven't, but like I said, I haven't properly spoken, I haven't properly posted in a while, because I've explained to you guys, I do work at sea, I have a lot going on, I have studies and shit going on. I'm busy with the house stuff as well. I did have to change my clutch. K20Z2, if you're going to be turbocharging, the clutch does not hold. It's not strong enough. My car, I take very well care of my car. I try to. I figured my clutch would still be fine. Even when I was doing mild test runs on the highway, kids don't do what we do. Testing cars on the highway, you want to take it to a racetrack properly. But what can we do? Street life. My clutch started slipping on 5th gear, which is still fine. 5-speed gearbox, it's with K20Z2. Started slipping 5th gear, could not hold, and I wasn't even boosting above 6.5 psi. You guys would notice from my old videos, it was either 5 psi, 6.5. That was just for test run purposes. Till the other night, where I started doing test runs. That's one of the launch where I did a 2-step example and a 0 to 100 launch. Fuck it, my 0 to 100 was so bad because I just got tire spin a lot, so I can't probably say what my 0 to 100 is, by the way. So anyway, if you're gonna be turbocharging K20Z2, make sure your pockets are quite deep. Do the right thing proper once. Don't waste time thinking that it might hold, what. You're gonna end up going back, in my example, which I did, because I have not seen many K20Z2s turbocharge, thus I'm representing. If you're gonna be turbocharging, like I said, I do not have the sidewinder at the side. Sidewinder meaning, let me just, luckily this, fuck's sakes. Sidewinder meaning the exhaust manifold comes to the side and the turbo would be sitting there, and then the filter would be extended up a bit forward. That's why I would in a lot of cases see the battery relocation to place. Me, I did not want to relocate my battery. If I want to work on my car, I want everything to be fine as is. I'm working in one place. I don't want to go to the back, dislocate battery and come back and or pull more cables through or such type of stuff. I feel my engine bay looks neat. People say it's cramped. It is cramped. It was a fucked up fit getting everything in, but it happened. It is possible. Still running air conditioning lines. That didn't bother anything. It's slightly running over the turbo at the back, but I did heat wrap them and a lot of other things. On top of that, things you guys would want to look out for once upon a time, or when you're going to be turbocharging. Okay, let's start from one side. AN fittings. If you buy a turbo kit, they come with AN fittings. I would say unless they are fully original, one or two or three of those I have. Those are the only 2 AN fittings of that nice red and blue I have on there still. The rest I had to replace because they might leak if they are not original. Vibrant Performance, if you can get them, get them. Other places, if you can get proper ones, you can do it proper ones. But I would suggest rather doing it once, right? Get your oil feed and oil drain lines clamped. You'll see mine there at the back. Can I zoom in? I clamped them right through. I made sure, because after I had to replace my exhaust manifold gasket. Do not go for those ones that might come with a turbo kit. The ones that look thick. I think I seriously threw that thing away because that thing pissed me off so much. If you can if you can get stainless steel 3 or 4 stainless steel gaskets, if you can get someone that make them, rather make new gaskets, especially for the exhaust manifold. Remember that shit gets bloody hot. That other aluminium, it looks thick type of gasket, I forgot, the graphite composite, something like that. Throw that bullshit away immediately. After you're gonna be dyno testing the car, that thing's gonna get a lot of heat. It might break apart. Mine broke apart. I had exhaust leak for 2 months long. Me and my friends were thinking it's the exhaust gasket. I replaced the exhaust gaskets, put the turbo back on, still exhaust leak, because we did not want to go to the back of the engine manifold, because that's obviously a cock spot, as you can see there at the back. But we did it anyway. That was the other problem I had, delay. So rather make new exhaust gaskets, get 3 or 4 stainless steel 0.5 millimeter if you can, redo them properly, put them properly on the turbo, on the downpipe, exhaust manifold, get proper fittings or hydraulically clamp them. Other upgrades, I did other updates, I can tell you guys. The clutch, I told you, what I got was a McLeod's 6-pack ceramic clutch. Apparently, the diaphragm plate did not fit properly. There was a 1-2 millimeter. There was a 1-2 millimeter difference. I'm not gonna take the bloody thing out now, but that's my old friction plate, and then the McLeod's, that the diaphragm pressure plate, they only fit, like they told me afterwards, only for the higher performance models. Yeah, there could have been a probability, if it's 1-2 millimeter difference, that I could have just slightly drilled the hole and fit it in. It might have still fit, but me and my mechanic felt it's unsafe. If something breaks, it fucks up the gearbox. Maybe not. It can fuck up the clutch all over again. And that's also not such an easy job. Changing clutch on K20Z2, you have to drop the gearbox, you have to lower the engine a bit, remove the subframe, take off all the plumbing pipes again for the turbocharger. It was quite a job. So like I'm saying, if you're going to be turbocharging and you're lucky enough to pull the engine out, either at the bottom, probably at the bottom if you remove the subframe. Yeah, probably remove the subframe, then you can get way better access to the oil pan as well for fitting the drain line to the oil pan. Do it once, do it proper. Remember, I built my Honda in my garage. I do not have a lift for the car. I jacked the car up and I wanted to do it myself. Everything turned out a success. But if you can get the car jacked up by a lift, you can remove the subframe, you can remove the gearbox, the engine all at once. Do it once, do it proper, change the clutch there with. If you're lucky enough and you get a K20Z3 intake manifold as well, they have shorter runners and the plenum is a bit thicker. It would probably sit right about here. I think the angle for the throttle body would be a bit more better as well. Then you have that extra also. But my plenum, I'm still keeping my plenum. So far it's worked fine for me. I was planning on changing it, but I have other projects this year. I'm not going to be working a lot on the car. Today in fact, is another update I did. Okay, I'm running, I have quite some sound in the car. I had changed the 2 front door speakers. I added 2 speakers to the rear doors. Then you have the 2 speakers at the back panel of the car, and then 2 tweeters, and then I have 2 subs at the back. I'm running 2 amplifiers at the back, one 8000 watt for just for the clarity audio, and I'm running one XTC 8000 watt amp for just for the clarity audio, and one 8005 amplifier just for the subs. Hellos, my neighbors. Hellos, you guys are going to be on YouTube. This is for the YouTube channel. I'm just updating on things about the car, because other people also plan on building internationally, which had the same struggles I did. So you guys can wait for the YouTube channel. I'm fine, how are you?
Very good.
In fact, I promised the kids sweets, so I have like lollipops. Let me just quickly bring 2. Yeah, my neighbors love the cars, they love the bikes. It creates, they say the cars and bikes are loud, but the kids love it, so the parents love it. So I always keep sweets for the kids. This is for the 2 young ladies.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure. So getting back to the audio video, sorry about that, guys. If you're gonna be running a big sound system, remember the videos on the big 3. You want to change big 3, meaning 1, you want to get a bigger ground cable, either at least 2 gauge or 0 gauge, just to ground your battery extra. Okay, I have 4 gauge, 2 gauge. I didn't bother that much. You want to ground your battery better. Mine's grounded here. Let's just tuck away the cable. You want to ground your engine better, probably to the same grounding point. That's 1, 2, and then the positive cable from your alternator, you want to run that to your positive side of the battery to keep that positive charge stronger as well. I forgot the other big 4, the 4th one. Either it's big 3 or big 4, but it's that 1, 2, 3. I found out today, for you guys that might have struggled like I did, maybe not, I'm gonna tuck the camera in where you guys see this black rubber cover here. If you can follow it as I'm pulling the camera out, you can still see it there. That one that's running there, it splits off from this plug. That one is your positive cable. Never mind this cover that's on top, it's just the cover on top of it. Just zoom in. That's just the cover on top of it. There is a nut there where you can add that positive cable. I was a bit unsure because I couldn't pull off the cover properly to see. Update for today is my alternator could not keep up with the amount of audio I'm running. Remember, that's 2 8000 watt amps on an average, 16,500 together. They are pulling a lot of ampage. Another small update you'd want to get is the bloody car keys. The video is getting a bit long. Don't want to bore you guys with my voice. Get yourself this nice okay, the camera is now interfering. The camera is now interfering. There you see 12.1 12.1 current volts. Get yourself something like that from AliExpress online, plugs into the cigarette lighter. You monitor your temperature on the inside, how hot it is, turn down the windows, and you can monitor the voltage as well, what voltage the car is running at, if your battery is flat or not, how much sound you're running or not. So update on the alternator. K20Z2 stock alternator is 100 amp. If you check your batteries, if I understand it correctly, you have your volts and you have your amps per hour, something like that. If you add them together, you get the amount of amps you're running. It needs to be below the amps of the alternator for the other alternator to charge the battery correctly. I am running two batteries for stronger current flow for all my sound. My other battery is in the boot behind the two subs. Remember, you want to run it in parallel, negative to negative, positive to positive, and have a fuse at least 100 amp between the positive to positive wire, and then from there you're running your negative and your positive to one amplifier, negative and positive to one amplifier. On the two positive cables again from the battery to the amps, you want to put fuses there as well. And like I grounded my front battery, I grounded the rear battery also. So front is grounded, back's grounded. I'm running parallel. A tip on running two batteries in your car for electrical support: make sure the battery sizes are the same. This one is a 636, I believe. Bracket is holding it there. That one is also a 636, 12 volts, 45 amps, whatever that, I'm still unsure about that. 45 amps. Rather be safe than be sorry, because 12 amps, 12 volts, it will obviously be 12 volts. You want to keep it 12 volts. If you connect it in series, running around, you will get 24 volts and your amps will remain the same. If you connect it in parallel, running straight, your voltage stays the same, but then your amps add up. If your amps add up, it overdrives the alternator. On that update, K24 2000 and where's that box? That paper is now somewhere else. Let's say 2005 to 2009, 2010. Let's be safe. 2009 model CRV. I changed my alternator today. This is 150 amp alternator, meaning it can support the power to both my batteries to charge them properly without draining the cars, without draining the batteries. I will give you guys a sound test afterwards. On my head unit, I have, the moment I went to 23, my volume would drop, and that was due to voltage drop, that my battery electrical support was not supporting the amount of electrical things I'm running, meaning my audio was too much, drawing too much power. Now, since I upgraded the alternator, I connected both my batteries back, grounded both of them. Fuses are still fine, always make sure of your fuses. When I tested my audio now, the moment I go to 23, I get a volume jump instead of a volume drop, meaning the voltage I'm getting now from my audio electrical support is 100, and that was tested with the car off, not with the car idling. There is a difference when you're testing car audio, whether the car's idling or whether the car's off, because when the car's idling, you get your alternator charging the batteries. When you test your real car's audio, you test it with the car off, you monitor your voltage and you monitor your dBs. When I previously tested the car's audio, remember with those types of Android tapes I have, remember Bluetooth frequencies, you get Bluetooth version 3 point what, 4 point what, 5 point what. When I listen to my audio playing via Bluetooth, I got something like 80 dBs at least at a certain volume. I think that was 20. I played the same song over and over and over. The moment I make a Bluetooth call and I drop it off, my volume jumps again. I got up to 90 dBs. That's a 10 dB average difference I got. So just remember that about Android tips as well. If you can, on that other update, if you can get the fascia trim for the K20Z2, rather get the fascia trim and get a proper head unit, meaning like Pioneer, Sony, XTC, Blaupunkt. Rather do that proper ones. The Android works 100% fine for me. Remember, I tried to keep it under budget. Lovely weather we're having. You guys can probably hear the thunder in the back. The rain is pushing up. I tried to keep it under budget. So yeah, on that update for you guys, I think I covered most of the things I really wanted to tell you guys. I changed my spark plugs today also. Remember, if you're gonna be turbocharging, you want to drop the heat level. Mine was running something about 8. I had to drop down to level 7. I'm just calling it level 7. They are originally Type R spark plugs. What it does is, because of the forced induction, you're pushing in more air. It like compacts the spark plug. So you want to get a lower range spark plug, which meaning in tighter air conditions, lower air conditions, like this, like more air, that it ignites in that if it's too high, then it can maybe still be hot and cause knocking, pinging, something like that. I think I understood or can recall. Other update for you guys, I got new bonnet vents. Remember, you don't want to heat soak your engine. I got a proper turbo blanket for the car. I upgraded my intake. I think that helped with the last dyno. Turbonetics 57 trim turbo I have. It has a 63mm compressor. I think that I got a like the opposite of reduction and increase from that 63 to 101 mil bend. K&N, you do get adjustable filters that have their own fittings at the back. I already had so yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. The phone got too hot, and I had to stop the video and cool it off a bit. What I'm gonna do, I'm basically gonna call this video "What You Need to Turbocharge Your Car," because I haven't seen a proper video like that posted. I have seen one. I'm not gonna mention the guys on YouTube, but I felt that was a bit injustice to what you really need to turbocharge your car, because they covered the basic topics like you need a turbocharger, you need injectors, they covered the real basics. They did not cover the fact that you need a proper wideband air to fuel ratio gauge. They did not cover the fact that you would have to consider changing your clutch. They did not consider the fact of the engine management control unit you're running, because there is a market of these. People misunderstand them a lot. Just to quickly end the video on the engine management control types. In our side of countries, Namibia, South Africa, you get a famous brand called Dictator. Remember, on that note, this video is not sponsored by anyone, not from Dictator, not from K&N, not from Turbonetics, not from Honda, not of any of the brands, which these are just a few I have in the car. This video is not sponsored by any kind. So on that note, engine control units, you obviously have Haltech, you have ECU Master, you have Dictator, you have Spitronics, you have Unit Chip. There's a whole bunch of them. but make sure the one you're using is the proper one. Check the features, what they have. The engine management control unit I wanted to run could not even support drive-by-wire system. It had a different module which had to be wired on to control the drive-by-wire management, and that would have been a standalone, and it couldn't cover a whole lot of things. Remember, cars are becoming way more modernized. Everything, a lot of things is electronic. The K20Z2 comes out with electronic steering for a 2009 model. It's not hydraulic steering. So if your battery runs flat, your steering will tighten up like a car that does not have power steering. Trust me, it's not nice. I had it once, just now, 2 days ago, when my battery was about to die. That's why I immediately had to change my alternator. Make sure that if you're going to be running methanol or nitros, that's features that an engine control management might have. If your car has drive-by-wire system instead of drive-by cable, that it has auxiliary points, 5 auxiliary points. You can add extra things like running NOS on it, like running meth injection on it. Other feature I thought of, if you add a auxiliary output to it, is for the intercooler. If you take spray nozzles and add it somewhere in front of the intercooler, you have a switch like a NOS button. Like the guys do on the dynos, they spray the intercooler with water or something just to cool it off, bring down the air temperature, make the car run smoother. It brings down the air intake temperature. You can add an auxiliary input like that. Check the features of the ECU management you're going to be running. Very, very, very important. I had a big struggle with that, remember, from Unichip. Some ECU managements do come with the software you can download already for your tuner to tune the car. Some software, some engine control units do not. Unichip do not. I'm not, what we call it, bad mouthing Unichip, but they were a struggle. Like Unichip, they only give their software to the tuners who are like legal to do their products. I could not take my car to someone else and say, please tune, I'm running Unichip. No, I could only take it to, we only have 2 guys in Namibia that does Unichip, one guy here in Windhoek, one guy in Belfast. The guy in Belfast did not want to even do the car because he figured it's too risky. The compression I'm running, which is not even that high, 9.8 to 1. I know of the American SI Civics running much higher compression, that's also turbocharging. That is more prone to knocking and pinging because you're running higher compression than it is on a 9.8 to 1. And take note, the K20C1, the first turbocharged Honda Civic, the Type R that came out, is running the same compression. The FK8, I believe, is also running the same compression. The bore and the stroke is the same, 84 point something, 86 point something. So that's a lot of things you need for turbocharging your car. What did I not cover? Fuel pressure regulator that you guys know that you might need. K20Z2 fuel pressure regulator is in tank. You're gonna have to reroute that when you change out the fuel pump. The fuel pump does not support that fuel pressure to the system you're gonna be running. Remember, I got a Deutschwerks 340 fuel pump, running return line. Got the proper air pressure, fuel pressure regulator. Get a proper fuel pressure regulator as well, one that has a vacuum port, one that is adjustable, because you would want to adjust the fuel pressure. It might be very necessary to check your injectors, check your plumbing roots, lower valve, small tip, keep it relatively at least 30 centimeters from the throttle body. Some people put it on the intake. I prefer not to. Why? Because it's still a long route before it reaches the blower valve, and all that pressure is still in between the plumbing pipes, which can still maybe cause turbo surge. That's my opinion. Keep it as close to the throttle body. As soon as the throttle body closes, air pressure releases, your turbo is safe from surge. How to choose your turbo as well? There are web pages out there. Remember, turbos, it's not about what size turbo you want to run, it's the amount of power you want to run. I can have a 2-liter K20Z2 engine and I can fit on a T66 turbo, which is a big ass turbo, but which is capable, let's say, for example, making of 800 horsepower. When would I make that 800 horsepower if I have 7,000 RPM and that turbo only starts boosting from 5,000 RPM? I only have the 2,000 RPM, and then I'm definitely not going to be making that full power. That's why I chose the T3, T4 Turbonetics 57 trim. So it's about the amount of horsepower you want to make, which will guide you to what size turbo you need. Mine is rated for up to 500 horsepower. My turbo starts boosting properly from 2008. From 2008, it really starts boosting. You can hear from the video, like ever suddenly it sounds like VTEC, which kicks in. And with the turbos, there are compressor maps for the islands in between. If you want to choose a turbo, you don't want to go with a T3, T4, you want to go with a straight, let's say maybe say a T25 turbo, which is small. You'll get early boost, you'll have less turbo lag. It might be capable of 300 horsepower, you might get the full power full out, but then check on your compressor map on those islands. There's calculations for that, how you calculate that with the car's RPM range and a few other things, whether you're gonna be, remember in the islands you have percentages of the efficiency of how well a turbo will run, and that will tell you whether either you're gonna be like overcharging. I think if the graph is like, I don't know how you're gonna watch it. Let's say the graph is like this. You have islands running here. If you run it over, you're either gonna be like, let's say, over-exerting the turbo. If you're gonna be running it under, you're gonna be running it low. If you want to be running it in the islands as closely to the center for 80% efficiently, 80, 70, depending what it is, efficiency, that means your turbo will be running as fine as possible, smooth. Depending on, I think the one side will be the amount of boost you're going to be running, the other side will be the amount of CFM or pounds per minute. That's the air pressure putting into the engine. That will say how efficient it is. You calculate those two together. That's how you choose a turbo. What else can I tell you guys? Don't even bother with, sometimes it might work, it might not work. Manual boost controllers, I had a manual boost controller on previously. Bullshit. That TPs did not work properly. The moment we started hitting boost, that thing was closed. That turbo would boost up. I would think I was running at least 1 bar or something accidentally, because the turbo just kept boosting. There was no, that thing did not work. Get yourself a proper electronic boost controller, or just run the straight boost pressure from the wastegate. Boost controller I'm running GeForce Buds 3, works 100% fine for me. I have up to 6 different maps. You can set the gain, how fast you want the turbo to spool up. You can set the overboost, you can set different maps. Works 100% fine for me. Thanks GeForce Buds for that. Remember, this video is not sponsored. So on that note, the rest you guys know, I'm not even gonna mention it. Wastegate, blower valve, that sort of thing you obviously need. I do not have problems with my oil pressure, with the amount of power the car is making. That seems fine from Honda. Engine is really fucking reliable. I have not had engine light a car problem with this car, other than the alternator now, because my audio was too much. I I'm unsure of the condition of my pistons. Maybe one day I'll have to change that forged pistons, but for now, still running fine. I'm not pinging, no shit. I'm not running over boost, unsafe. So Honda proves itself. K20, you can go nuts with it. Do your thing. I'm gonna be closing off the videos. I had to change cars in between the time the phone was getting hot. It's raining outside. We call this showers of blessings when it's nice and rainy outside. So if you guys have any other questions, I'm happy to help and answer them where I can. Remember, I'm not a fully qualified mechanic. I'm doing this completely for interest's sake and for support. I'm not a stingy motherfucker that's gonna keep all the knowledge to myself, wanting other people to struggle that might have the same condition I have in terms of like wanting to turbocharge the K20Z2 because it's an underdog and a lot of people are telling you it's not gonna work. Fuck that shit. I'm not a mechanic. I built this in my garage. If I can do it, you can do it. Let's stay positive. Keep motivating each other in the car nation. Otherwise, guys, as always, I'm John Wolf, representing Honda K20Z2 from Namibia, down south. Boosted life. Subscribe and like to my channel, and let's keep it safe. Like and subscribe. I'm John Wolf. Like and subscribe. Let's get my subscribers coming in. Spread the word. Spread the word on the channel. Let's spread the word on the channel. I want to get more subscribers. Guys, if you have any other questions, help yourself out. This is my workshop. This is my man cave. I'm not hating on other cars. I have Nissan GTRs. I have Ferraris, Evos. Gotta have the legendary R35, R34 right there, R35 right there. Got another R35 at the bottom. Ferrari, Lamborghini, a few extra stuff. I'm a biker as well. This is my workshop. So, guys, I'm out. John Wolf, just keep it real. Boosted life. Like and subscribe.